As a devout Muslim, we know that the removal of subsidy, the cost of living, the devaluation of the naira, insecurity is hitting hard in the north. That is undoubtedly. What are the feelers from the north as we head into 2027? Do you think President Tinubu has a chance? And if you can just give us your thoughts on what is likely to happen in the north, or the way the north may vote in 2027.
Well, there are strategies to be adopted by the president that he will still spring surprises in the north. But as it is presently, he cannot get up to 20% of the votes in all the northern states, except maybe Kano, he could get up to 20%. Then Yobe and Borno, because of the presence of Kashim Shettima, that is, if he goes along with Kashim Shettima, he will be able to get more than maybe 30-40% in those states. Aside that, in the north now, you see, the politics of the north is such that there are certain personalities that control the voters. And those personalities are not with him.
Really?
Yes. So it's not like other states where people can decide on their own. Like, okay, you see what people did in the southeast during the last election. South-South, you see, youths came out, even though Labour Party was virtually unknown. They stood in Edo State, P2B won. But in the north, it's not like that. There are some persons that can talk to people, and then the whole thing will change. These people are not with him. And some of them have lost their honor, because they used the same honor which they used during the 2023 election. They abused it, and now they are not being respected again. I mean, the Islamic scholars. Islamic scholars in the north, they control voters. As in, they can come and say, okay, on a Friday, during the, say, go, we are going in this direction. And the majority will go. But as it is today, the few scholars who can talk to the people are kicking against this president. The one who is supporting President Tinubu seriously now is one of the leaders of the Izala group, Sheikh Yahya Jingir. That one is insane. Not my own words, as a madman now in the north. As this man is, because he's over 70, he's close to 80, so they see him as being senile. And as such, they don't even take him serious again, because anytime, even if he comes, he wants to lead prayer, he will say, Tinubu, Muslim. That's how I so they don't see this man. Sometimes some people don't even want to pray in his mosque again because of the way he's talking about Tinubu. So he no longer control, even among his own very senior members, they disagree with him completely. So now Tinubu has a serious problem.
All right, we learned that Tinubu is spending billions on projects, on appointments and settlements across the north right now. And some persons are asking, is that governance, or is he trying to buy back a people he had lost, or so to say abandoned before now?
Well, I move around the northern states, and I live in the north. I don't know the people that are benefiting from this money that you're talking about, because the kind of poverty in the north cannot be found anywhere in the country. The kind of poverty that people cannot feed. And that's why I have always accused the traditional rulers and the Islamic scholars that you cannot keep quiet when the majority of the people are turning into beggars. Not only the youths now, the majority, you see healthy men coming to beg. They are moving from one place to another. So where is the money going to? It's just going to the hands of very few who are not helping the people. So that's why the Northerners are very angry with President Tinubu, because they also claim that fertilizer is very expensive. If they buy fertilizer, they cannot sell what they get from their farms, because food is being imported into the country at a cheaper rate. So once they spend money on fertilizer, whatever they get is not even enough to recover the money they have spent on the fertilizer. So all of these things is working against the government. So I don't know where the billions are going. They share it among themselves. What is happening in the north is that those who are wealthy are becoming more wealthy, and those who are poor, who are the majority, like say 80%, are becoming poorer. 80%, the poverty rate in the north is up to that, because people cannot, if you go to the hospital, you see, once you don't feed well, the chances of you falling sick is high. See, virtually all the hospitals are filled to capacity, because many people in the north are not feeding well. So I don't know where the billions are going to. I think he needs people who are honest enough to be able to tell him the truth of what's happening in the north.
All right, let's go. Let's hear from you, comrades. Straight to the point. When northern elders talk about zoning the presidency back to the north, Is that a genuine political demand or just an expedient move necessary to retire Tinubu in 2027?
No, it's just a move to retire Tinubu in 2027 because some of these politicians believe that with the voting strength of the North, if a Northerner is given a ticket and they will be able to capture the entire of the Northern region, and by so doing, they will be able to defeat Tinubu. But it's not really, that is political expediency. For the truth of the matter is that by convention, even though it's not constitutional, we have always agreed in this country that the presidency should be between the North and the South, which I personally disagree with that. It should not just be between a particular area of the North and a particular area of the South.
Break it down for us.
So now, the president, whenever it is a turn of the North, it goes to Northwest. Whenever it's a turn of the South, it goes to Southwest. It's just between Hausa or Fulani and Yoruba. It's not two tribes we have in the country. When you say South, we have Southeast, we have South-South, and we have Southwest. Now, if you talk about the North, we have the Northeast, Northwest, and North Central. Since from 1999 to date, nobody from Southeast has become vice president. From 1999 to date, nobody from Northeast has been president. But we have produced two presidents from the North, both of them from Northwest and both from Katsina. Now, North Central has not produced. And it's usually not based on competence that these people are usually elected. It's just political, because of the political, maybe the numerical strength and other considerations. So it should not just be between Northwest and Southwest. There should be a balance. That balance brings about unity and stability of the country. You cannot continue to, it's not about, once you insult, you see, let's look at this scenario. A Dangote, who is a billionaire, can decide to fight somebody who cheated, if he entrusts maybe 100 million naira in the hands of somebody, and the person takes away the money, and the person is boasting that you cannot do anything. The Dangote can decide to fight and go to court because of that 100 million naira. Not because 100 million naira can make him poor, but because he has been insulted. Human beings don't want to be insulted. And he can spend $1 billion naira to recover that 100 million naira. So when you insult people, they will want to fight back. And that's all of this agitation. You make people have this sense of belonging. You cannot just, as if they don't matter. It don't matter. When you make people feel as if they don't matter, they want to fight back to show that yes, they matter. And that's why I don't subscribe to, okay, now, there's nothing you will say that somebody from Southeast doesn't have, all the people from Southeast, nobody has capacity to lead. Is that what you are telling me? So, or you are telling me that somebody from North Central, nobody from North Central has capacity to lead? It should not be so. So, I actually respect that gentleman agreement that the presidency be between years, so that people can have a sense of belonging. I also don't believe in giving it to the wrong person. All the regions have capable hands. All you need to do is to identify these capable hands, support them to become president or whatever position.
All right, looking at Amaechi, P2B, Atiku, or any other new northern candidate joining the fray, who do you think realistically has a chance to defeat Tinubu?
As it is now, in 2027, it depends the combination that will defeat Tinubu. We have about two sets of combination. Anyone picked among these two combinations will defeat Tinubu. If you have Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, and Atiku agreeing, they will defeat Tinubu. That is Peter Obi as president, Kwankwaso as vice president. Of course, Atiku cannot even go to Tinubu, so definitely they will defeat Tinubu, because there's nothing Tinubu will be able to offer to Atiku. So now, if you have, and if there's a strategy that Tinubu will use, he will still defeat them. But that strategy seems to be unknown to Tinubu himself, because he's unaware. Because if he were to be aware, he would have even allowed them. There's no need for him to even be wasting his time or his people trying to cause confusion in ADC. Allow them. Or if you have an Atiku as president and P2B as vice president, and then a Kwankwaso to be in ADC, maybe project him to be Senate president. Because in the case of Kwankwaso, what that means is that he must contest election. He should go for Senate. If Kwankwaso is not contesting election, Atiku and Obi will not make headway. If he's not contesting any office, Atiku and Obi will have problem. And if he's contesting for president, Tinubu has won. If Kwankwaso is contesting for president, Atiku and Obi are contesting on the same ticket, Tinubu has won. But if Obi and Kwankwaso are contesting, Obi and Kwankwaso, Kwankwaso must be on the ballot, either as a candidate for the Senate or vice president. Because I know Kwankwaso very well. I have sat and discussed with Kwankwaso one-on-one more than 50 times. So I know him very well. If he's not on the ballot, forget it. They are not going anywhere. He should be a candidate either for Senate or for vice president. So that's when there will be trouble for Tinubu. So this combination, or if you have Amaechi and El-Rufai, P2B must not contest. You see, this thing is not that just pairing certain persons alone. If you have an Amaechi and El-Rufai, P2B must not contest. If he's not contesting, then they can also win. But if he's contesting, Tinubu has won. So that's why when people are saying that, because in the north they say no, Tinubu will be defeated before afternoon, I say no, these people don't understand politics. Defeating Tinubu requires a lot of effort. It's not as easy as the Nigerians think.
All right, there are whispers of mega opposition coalition being formed. And in Nigerian politics, do coalitions win elections or they do exist just long enough to share positions and then collapse?
You see, the reason why this coalition cannot even be taken seriously is because the majority of them are very selfish. It is not the interest of the country. It don't mean well for the country. They are not even better than these people in government as at the moment. So they are for themselves. Okay, who are the people that are talking about coalition? These people have been in government for a very long period of time. They have amassed wealth that they don't need. These are the people who are talking about. Okay, why are people talking about P2B? Let me tell you, there's something missing in P2B. If he realizes that, he will get 40% of northern votes. 40% of northern votes without even having to bring any top politician from the north to be his vice president. What is it? You see, P2B has something that northerners love and appreciate so much. His frugality. Northerners appreciate that. But there's something missing in P2B.
What is that?
What is missing is that he has not been able to identify the right people and for the ordinary northerners to know who he is. That's what northerners respect. That's what they appreciate. And P2B has it as if he's a northerner, as if he was brought up in the north. You see, once you look at northern politicians, even look at people like Dangote. Dangote can go to the house of ordinary person, he will sit down as if he's a nobody. P2B carries himself as if he's a nobody. Northerners like that, they appreciate that, but because the majority of northerners, the poor ones are illiterates, they don't know who is P2B. It is the information that they are being fed. They are being misled by those who don't want the ordinary northerners to really appreciate who P2B is. If not, that's the kind of politician they want. It's not flamboyant. And that is what, you see, why do some majority of the youths, especially in Kano and some northern states, appreciate Kwankwaso? Because he's down. He moves with the ordinary people. Kwankwaso can go to the house of a very wretched person, maybe to greet after, maybe to sympathize or to condole. They appreciate that. And when going, he sits within their midst. The P2B that I have been saying, that's how he carries himself. Simple. Once you are simple, oh, they love you. But P2B has not been able to identify with the ordinary people because he doesn't know them. That's just what he's lacking. They don't know who he is. Once the day they know who he is, he will realize that he will have his support base will be in the north. Yes, the religion plays vital role. But what is most important is that let them know who you are. But they don't know who P2B is, except only the educated ones. It's now a vice chancellor who has always been talking about, no, what we need is P2B and Kwankwaso. Since 2023, that was what he was telling me. Why? Because he is educated. And this is a northerner that he's talking about that. As at that time, I met him at the residence of Kwankwaso. He was telling me that, how do we do to convince Kwankwaso to be vice president to P2B? Because he understands the kind of person that P2B is. That's what P2B needs to work on. So that the ordinary northerners will know. So they have sold this script to them that as if P2B comes, he's going to bring back Biafra. So that's what these very corrupt politicians do in the north. So they block the ordinary masses so that they don't understand what they say. Or they'll not say, oh, now I heard some say something that made me to laugh. They said, are you going to support P2B? P2B that killed Sadona. And I laugh. How old is P2B? Was it P2B that killed Sardauna? So things like that. But he doesn't know the kind of information that is lying there. I said, no. So the person told me, I said, but you must be very foolish. I don't even understand how I called his university, gave you a certificate. How can you be this foolish and you have a degree? That is P2B killed Sardauna. How old was he during the war?